ft.Technoblade, where have you been all this time? Well, you see, I've been farming potatoes in Skyblock. That wasn't a joke. It all started months ago. I just got in a set of superior armor and wanted hot potato books to upgrade it. I could have just bought some from the auction like a normal person, but if hypixel has taught me anything, it's that if you have a problem, the answer is slavery. So I had 20 potato minions with 20 enchanted lava buckets, 20 super compactors, 20 diamond spread-ins, because it's just free money. Get this upgrade. And with this setup, I was making about 242,000 potatoes per day. At this point, I had enough potatoes for my armor. I could have stopped. I could have put an end to this, but I thought, no, what if I went even further? You can check your rank in each individual collection, and I was already top 50 in potatoes. I decided at that moment that I was going to be the #1 potato farmer in Skyblock. How hard could it be? First, I needed to get more minion slots. Now, I already spent a lot of time getting to 20 minion slots because I believe minions are important. I mean, they work 24/7, gathering resources even if you never bother to log in, and as such represent the only way to achieve the dream that all Skyblock players share, which is to not have to play anymore. Unfortunately, each minion slot requires exponentially more resources than the last, so I did what any self-respecting Skyblock player would do, and sat in the shop menu buying ice for 30 minutes. I'm having fun. I dropped out of college for this. And after spending many hours and 15 million coins, I finally unlocked the 22nd minion slot. At this point, I thought I had first place in the bag. I mean, there's only a couple of solo players that have 23 minion slots, and I figured if anyone went to that much trouble to get more minion slots, they'd probably spend it on a minion that actually makes money, like clay minions. But I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna go even more overkill, alright? I'm gonna upgrade my level 7 potato minions to level 9. Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh, Technoblade, isn't that obvious? Isn't it just more potatoes? Why wouldn't you do that immediately? No, it's not, alright? Upgrading past level 7 on minions never makes sense. You're never getting that money back because upgrading cost over 100,000 potatoes just to get to potato 9. That'll take over 2 months to get that money back, over 8 months for level 11. It's just a bad idea. Oh, but Technoblade, isn't that just a long-term investment? No, it's not. Remember cactus farms? Remember how they were great for like 5 days and then the admins obliterated them in an update? Yeah, you really think your dreams are going to go that long without getting crushed by the admins? No, you're never seeing that money again. I'm sorry, it's gone. But I wasn't farming potatoes for profit. I was farming them for honor, for glory. So I started upgrading them to level 9. My last hidden weapon was the farming crystal, which increases the speed of nearby farming minions by 10%. I could only fit 12 minions in that radius, but I thought, you know what? Whatever. I'll just make a second farm crystal. Here we go! Oh, okay. No, I'm glad Skyblock tells you that after you make a second crystal. I mean, it's not like you could just tell me that after I make the first crystal! Whatever. It's not a total waste of money. At least I can auction. Thank you, hypixel. If I wanted to fit all my minions in that 8-block radius, I'd have to think in the 3rd dimension. And so, after restructuring my farm, the potato pyramid was complete, yielding 309,000 potatoes per day. But as an ex-English major, I decided that math wasn't enough to defeat my enemies. I needed to consult the classics. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. So I decided to do some investigative journalism. I discovered a forum post from September in which a user named I'm a Squid Kid bragged about being ranked #1 in potatoes. By stalking his profile, I found another post weeks later in which he suggested he was now around 7 million potatoes. By putting these two data values on a grid, I could calculate the slope to estimate his average daily potato yield. It wasn't perfect, but it was the best method I could think of to estimate how strong his potato farm was. I mean, it's not like I could just go to his island and look at it. Wait, that worked? But what I found shocked me to my very core. No, this can't be. This man made 8 potato 11 minions, and then he painted the Mona Lisa! It was at this moment I realized that I wasn't dealing with a potato madman, but a potato supervillain. At this point I fell into despair, all sense of rationality, even the slightest hope of making his money back. This man had thrown them all away to farm potatoes. I had 2 more minion slots than him, but his minions were so high level that he was still making more potatoes than me at 310,000 potatoes per day. But I wasn't even worried about his potato farm. I mean, I still had some minions to upgrade. I was confident I could make a stronger farm. I was worried about his head start. The month I spent farming the Pigman sword, he'd already been farming potatoes. According to my calculations, he was already 7.5 million potatoes ahead of me. Even if all my minions magically became level 11 at that very moment, it would take 107 days to catch up. I can't go that long without uploading, my fans will murder me! So was that it? Was my quest to become the #1 potato farmer in Skyblock destined to end in failure? No, I refused. The sunk cost fallacy wouldn't allow it. If I wanted to defeat a man that had descended into potato madness, I would have to take his insanity and triple it. It was at this moment I spoke words that had never been uttered in the history of Skyblock. I should get minion expanders. Minion expanders have long been known as the most useless item in Skyblock, so you know how all minions have this like 5x5 area in which they work? They don't actually need this area. They could work with one block just as fine, because all I do is break a block, and then they place it right back. They don't need options. So what the minion expander does is it turns that 5x5 area into a 7x7 area. Why? Why would the minion need more options so it doesn't get bored? But with the Slayer update, they added a hidden attribute to minion expanders, which buff minion speed by 5%, which is still garbage. Diamond spreading gives like 5 times the value, and I didn't have enough space to put both of them in my minions. But unfortunately, diamond spreading only gives diamonds. If I wanted to become #1, I'd have to sacrifice all that free money for 5% more potatoes. With the minion expanders taking up so much extra space, the potato pyramid was no longer enough to fit all my minions within the farming crystals radius. So I built the Potato Dome! Boasting 5 floors, the Potato Dome could fit all 22 expanded minions. And after I'd finished upgrading the rest of them to level 9, the Potato Dome could now produce 337,000 potatoes per day. At this point, the Potato Dome was the most powerful potato farm in Skyblock. I was ranked 20 on the leaderboards and rising fast, and yet I knew, in my heart, that it wasn't enough. It wasn't even close. But what more could I do? Farm potatoes by hand? I actually did for like an hour. It made a tiny dent. Sure, it would have worked eventually, but come on, is mindlessly repeating the same task for hundreds of hours really what Skyblock's all about? Okay, yeah, pretty much, but I wasn't about to do that, man. When I said 100 hours, I was not kidding. And yet, as time went on, it began to seem like that was truly the only way. The opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Sun Tzu. I'd done it. I discovered a critical flaw with Squid Kid's potato farm. His minions were too close together. Now with any other kind of minion, that wouldn't have mattered at all, but potato minions are unique. When they're too close together, they'll start trying to plant in spots the other minions already planted and get stuck in an infinite loop, dragging down the overall farm's potato output by as much as 90%. The reason he hadn't noticed this and was still first place in potatoes is because this only happens when someone is online and on the island, because otherwise Skyblock just runs a calculation to guess how many resources your minions would have made while you were offline. Anyways, he left the door to his AFK machine open, so I left my alt in there. Welcome to the real world, Squid Kid. Okay, can we take a moment to talk about Jerry, alright? I got a Jerry here. I got a Jerry there. There's actually 2 Jerrys in there. I have video evidence, okay? Look at this. He's multiplying. He's undergoing mitosis. But that's not all. The other day I was just minding my business and then... Why is he there? I knew I couldn't rely just on sabotage to get first place, because who knows if there's other people out there just like Squid Kid throwing away everything just to farm more potatoes. So I decided to look into alternate fuel sources for my minions. I mean, enchanted lava buckets are already the most efficient permanent fuel source in the game, but what about temporary fuel sources? So I got a bunch of hamster wheels, which give twice as much of a boost, 50%, but for only a day. And I threw like 100 of them into the potato dome, and it started making 450,000 potatoes per day. And so the days went by. Every day I'd log in and AFK on Squid Kid's island with my alt, while my minions burned through hamster wheels, quickly bringing me into the potato top 10. I was finally making good progress, until one day, when I went to AFK on his island again. Oh god, he's online. What do you want? Why do you keep doing this? I just wanted to check on the Last Supper, man. You AFK'd on my island for 12 hours! It was a good painting! I figured Squid Kid would find it a little bit suspicious if the same guy was AFK at his island every day, so I got a second account. And then I left them both in there. Be extremely subtle, even to the point of formlessness. What? Why? Why are you guys here? I've been buying some enchanted baked potatoes from the auction house. It's not the most efficient use of my money, but look, I need potato 11 minions if I want to catch up as quickly as possible. We can't only have 2. It's not enough. Well, I mean, it is enough, but I want to upload within the next year. But the problem with the auction house is that it's filled with crazy people. Look at this guy. He's bidding 3.9 mil for 26. You think that's bad? 11 million. I could see someone bidding 7 million on a stack of enchanted baked potatoes. 8 million. I could understand that. 11 million. Deranged psychopath. There's no justification. Send this man to prison. After a couple days of minion farming and buying enchanted baked potatoes, we have 102, which in regular potatoes is over 2.6 million, and we can only make 4 maxed potato minions with it. That's all we can make. That's how expensive maxed potato minions are. They're so good, but it doesn't matter because they cost so much. It's never going to pay off. They're all gone. Whatever. It's for the leaderboards. I had to sell everything so that I could invest it in potatoes, man. I had to sell my young dragon armor, my rare cake collection, massively overinflated Halloween items. I had to mortgage my house. It's crazy out there. I actually did pretty well during the Halloween events, which allowed me to raise a lot of money. But I'm just saying, look at this spooky pile, right? Limited edition item with my name and pig rank stamped on them. Could you imagine how much money I would make if I put this on the auction? I would make Dan TDM's 15 mil water bottle look like tap water. He left a sign for me, whitelisted. What do you want from me? I'm just ruining Squid Kid's whole life. He's traumatized. He's just living in fear. Why are they here? Why do they keep showing up? But after a few days, I ran out of hamster wheels, and I had to resort to my final weapon. The catalyst. The catalyst is the strongest fuel source in the game, tripling your minion output, but they only last for 3 hours. Fortunately, I had a couple. With the power of catalyst, my potato output skyrocketed, and I put that all back into leveling up my minions. And in a matter of days, I had 22 potato 11 minions producing 893,000 potatoes per day. I don't make hot potato books, I make hot potato libraries. Originally I thought I'd have to go bankrupt buying catalysts if I wanted to catch up to Squid Kid, but I actually discovered that catalysts are amazing. I can buy the materials to make one for like 10,000 coins on the auction, and then each of them makes 14,000 coins in potatoes. This is a miracle. It's free money. So every day I sold hot potato books, and then I bought more crystals, and then I sold more hot potato books, and then I bought more crystals. And that's the story of how I made infinite money. Well, not really, because you can only use so many per day, but I made a lot, and now I was ranked 3 in potatoes. I did some more investigative journalism and found the guy ranked number 2 in potatoes. I'm gonna give you guys 3 guesses as to who left a funny rating on his post. Squid Kid! I was right on his tail, but I decided to visit his island to see just how strong his potato farm was. Oh, this is a joke. This is pathetic. Only 18 minion slots. This is just sad. I've seen Irish famines with more potatoes than this farm. You might get away with this farm in some garbage vegetable like carrots, but potatoes? How dare you? Oh my god, this crystal. This crystal, it only covers 5 of these minions. Oh, I'm gonna throw up. Against a farm like that, I easily took rank number 2. It seemed like I was only 1 step away from my potato dreams, and yet Squid Kid had been so dominant on the potato leaderboards that he was still 3 million potatoes ahead. But with catalysts, such a lead could be destroyed in a matter of days. Still, to be safe, I kept AFKing on his island, until one day. I checked my alts window for a moment, and the island was full. 2 guys I'd never heard of before had called the police on Squid Kid and brought a helper to investigate him. Who called the police? Whitelisted. Are you Squid Kid's alt? No, I just AFK here a lot. As a hobby. I'm so suspicious. He doesn't believe me at all. I'm getting banned. They'd been investigating while Squid Kid was offline. I met him later that day and decided to warn him. Squid, I know we've had our differences, but the police are after you, man. I saw a helper. Squid. There were 2 dudes, Squid. They came to your island with the helper. They were snitching. I don't know why. I need names. Okay, let me get my screenshots. You gotta be careful, man. The snitches be everywhere. Anyways, I'm gonna go AFK now. Just act natural. Just And I'm gone! It seemed strange to be helping my #1 enemy, but his sheer dedication to farming potatoes had earned my respect. I had to give him help, from one potato brother to another. Also, I'm deeply scared of him. Did you see what he said when I told him the names? Names noted. That is serial killer talk. We ain't gonna be hearing from those two guys ever again. I kept farming potatoes, and in a matter of days, Squid Kid's lead was almost completely destroyed. And yet Squid Kid himself had no idea. He even put a billboard on his island, #1 in potatoes. But why would he suspect? Just a few days ago, he'd seen proof on the forums that he was millions in the lead. The poor fool had no idea what was coming. Has it updated? It hasn't updated. Alright, I'm going to the hub. Has it updated? Ah! Yes! #1 in potatoes! To celebrate, I took my 2 alts and my main account, and then I AFK'd on all 3 of them! I think at this point Squid Kid knew that the alts were mine, but he was so confused. Why had Technoblade been AFKing on his island for weeks? He was so confused that he didn't even realize that his potato leaderboard spot had already been taken, so I went to confront him myself one final time. What do you want? Why are you doing this? Your potato rank 1 spot is now mine. He's checking. He's checking. How? For years, my machinations lay undetected. This is all I have. Squid, I found a problem with your island. A critical flaw. Get over here. Over here! Squid, get over here. This sign, it has the wrong number. Pretty bad week for Squid Kid overall, I'd say. First he got arrested, and then I cyberbullied him, but it had to be done. And let me just say, there is no chance of him catching up. I even got 23 minion slots just to bury any hope he had. This spot is mine. And that's the story of how I became #1 on the potato leaderboards, and we lived happily ever after. All the loose ends finally tied together. Well, except for one thing. Oh god, there's another one. There's another Jerry. And he's staring right at me. There's another one. There's a Jerry in the water. No. There's another one out there. I don't understand. What do you want? What do you want? There's another Jerry on the bridge. They've got me surrounded. I don't understand.
I've had my fair share of odd things happen to me while playing Minecraft, and nothing comes even remotely close to the whitelisted mystery, which you're going to be learning about today. Yeah, I really don't know what this dude's been doing on my island the last few days, but he's kind of just vibing, so I'm gonna leave him here. I looked back in the logs to see when the first time was that I acknowledged this dude, and it was October 25th. At this point, I don't know what they are, who they are, or what they want, so I'm just very confused. I wanted to find out what they wanted from me, and I tell you what, it was driving me freaking nuts. It's the first time that we went to my island at the same time, so I took the opportunity to try to talk to him. He warned me that there's a helper out to get me, and then This nutcase of a person, whoever this is, decided to go AFK in my cobble gen again. People like this really just need to be locked up, let's be real here. Who's this bozo and what does he want from me? There he is! Yeah, we gotcha, scumbag. This one had me real confused. I couldn't tab its name, so I knew it was nicked, but its name was whitelisted 3, so that means a YouTuber chose the name as the nick, and it had 700 health with its armor off. And then on top of all that, it had a Time Dio skin when I right-clicked it. I quickly verified that there is no account with the name whitelisted 3. I checked the friends list of whitelisted and whitelisted 2, and the only people they had friended was Technoblade and Jin. Scumbag thought he could just leave my island, but I'm a quick thinker.
So, scumbag, we got you. Jupiter police are gonna track your ass down, and guess what? We got you. Thanks a lot for letting us know who you were. And Google is all over your IP address. You're dead moose meat. And then after they disclose who you are, I'll send my boys to come see you.
Names noted.
At this point, I really just thought Time Dio was there to time-lapse my island, so I really didn't put any more thought into it. Boy, was I wrong. That sign was a joke, but it's really him.
Hey, Technoblade.
What is going on and why is it happening to me? I knew it was him. He's been putting bots on my island for weeks. If only I knew then what I know now.
But potato minions are unique. When they're too close together, they'll start trying to plant in spots the other minions already planted and get stuck in an infinite loop, dragging down the overall farm's potato output by as much as 90%. Anyways, he left the door to his AFK machine open, so I left my alt in there.
How could I be such a fool? The pig caught the squid, acting like a rat. I was too busy chasing the cheese and I forgot about the traps.
Scar. Yeah, he's trying to confuse you enough. He's big brain, okay?
Potato farm is superior. That's why he's missing you. It's because it's just potatoes. 1,000 years too late.
What does he mean?
Wait, send screenshots of this.
What?
Dude, that's why
There's
you
no
see it.
way he's number 1 right now. I'm
That's
number
why
2!
you see it,
That
dude.
is impossible!
Wait, what?
He's number 1 potato now, what?
What?
Ooh.
Well, Technoblade, you might have won the battle, but I will win the war. Form conga lines in Lobby 1 to show resistance against the pig. Team Squid is forming, and we want our spot back.
other day I was farming potatoes by hand when a man visited my island and asked, "Why? Didn't you already win the potato war?" But no, the potato wars never ended. To understand how things ended up like this, we've got to go back to November. When I dethroned Squid Kid and became the #1 potato farmer in Skyblock, I went to his island and laughed at him for half an hour. Then my co-op members showed up, and we all started laughing at him. It was not a good day for Squid Kid. He updated it! And then I left. Squid warned me that he wasn't giving up on rank #1, but I didn't care, so I uploaded the Great Potato War. But in the days after that, I did nothing. I'd spent so long working to become #1. Now that I had done it, I didn't feel anything at all. I had no idea what to do with myself. I mean, the video did alright, but not nearly enough to justify the time I had spent on it. And after I uploaded it, so many people started using potato minions that the price of potatoes dropped 30% in the auction house. My plans to become rich had failed both in-game and in real life, but at least I had my potato rank. But when I visited Squid Kid's island 3 days later, what I found shocked me. He had 23 minion slots. Now, when I made the Great Potato War, some people criticized me for violating Sun Tzu's most basic tenet. Whatever you do, don't reveal all your techniques in a YouTube video. You fool. You moron. But my belief that the Potato War was already over hadn't been baseless. Between my 3 extra minion slots, most of Squid's minions not being max level, and the price of catalysts skyrocketing due to needing the same materials as a new quest, Squid Kid would need almost 100 million coins to catch up. And I knew for a fact he was broke. I decided to do some investigative journalism. I'd seen a new sign on Squid's island advertising his new guild. So I did what any normal person would do and bought another alt account, and then I infiltrated the guild. But what I found confirmed my worst fears. People were helping Squid Kid. I'd cyberbullied Squid too hard. People had seen the video, felt bad, and gone to his island to hand him the spare items he needed to make more slots, or in some cases just pay him millions of coins, all with the express purpose of defeating Technoblade once and for all. Now, I can't complain about other people getting free stuff, but watching tens of millions get given to my arch nemesis by my own viewers, it was a bra moment. In a week, he had a farm even stronger than my own. My worst fears had been realized. Squid was catching up. If I wanted to remain #1, I had to act fast. Once more, I consulted the wisdom of ancient times. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. I couldn't let Squid learn of my plan, so I boarded up the potato dome. I hired goons and swore them to secrecy. I knew Squid would be monitoring my actions, so I started an SMP series to throw him off the trail. And like that, I began my plan. I knew there was only one way to defeat Squid once and for all, by building a farm so powerful it reached the theoretical potato limit. And to do that, I would have to do something no solo player had ever done before. Unlock the 24th minion slot. It wasn't going to be easy. Fortunately, I'd already reached 100 million coins by selling potatoes before prices had fallen. I paid my goons to start gathering the resources we needed, whether that was by purchasing directly from NPCs or scouring the auction house 24/7. In the meantime, I headed to the Spider's Den, where I fought Tier 4 Tarantula bosses until I reached Spider Slayer 5, unlocking the Tarantula minion, which gave several new minion crafts. Progress was steady, but we soon encountered an obstacle. Enchanted mutton. It was such a useless item that even if you had the money to pay for it, nobody was selling it on the auction house. I had to go on a manhunt to find someone who was actually using sheep minions so I could trade for it directly. This guy says he has some enchanted button for me. Wait, you're not pulling a Foogle, are you? You wanted some enchanted sugar cane, so that's the approximate equivalent in value. Pleasure doing business with you, Foogle. I partially forgive you for your past crimes. Alright, it took 3 days and over 80 million coins, but we finally got all the materials we need to craft. Just look at this. It's beautiful. It's so organized. These are enough to make 50 unique crafts, and then we'll have 24 minion slots. So we're just gonna speed up the craft in here. We did it, boys! The 24th minion was up, and my farm was now producing 1,067,000 potatoes per day. I now had the maximum number of minions, but if I wanted to make the greatest possible potato farm, there was still one upgrade I needed to get. An upgrade even dumber than all the past upgrades combined. Unfortunately, the website I used to stock Squid Kid's auction bids revealed that he was already working on it. I had no other choice. I once said that the most useless item in the game is a minion expander, but that was before I learned about the flycatcher. The flycatcher is an upgrade which increased minion speed by 10%, 5% more than the minion expanders I was currently using. Oh, but Technoblade, that sounds great. Wrong. You would not believe how difficult it is to make a flycatcher. First you need a fly swatter, which drops from less than 1% of high-level tarantula bosses, and then you need over 10 million coins worth of tarantula silk. To give you guys a quick visual of how many materials we're gonna need some of this, a little bit of this too, some of this, some of that, some of these, and a little bit of that. And if we combine all of that together, we can make one flycatcher. I need 24 of these! It was a daunting task, but I knew we had to start immediately. I'd been stalking Squid Kid's Twitter, so I knew he was a college student, and it was late November. Exam season, Squid Kid would be at his weakest. We had to get as many flycatchers as we could before winter break. I once more gathered my goons and ordered them to acquire the needed materials. My main problem was money. I still had a few tens of millions of coins left over, but if I wanted 24 flycatchers, that wasn't even close to enough. Fortunately, the Potato Dome was making over 3 million coins per day, not including the cost of buying catalyst, which was not an issue for me. Remember when I flexed on all of you with my chest full of catalysts? Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I was holding back. One of the things I did to raise money was grind candy during spooky festivals, which is how I unlocked this skeleton horse pet, which was a huge flex back in November, and now nobody cares at all. But the important thing about this skeleton horse pet is that there's actually a bug that most people don't know about. The skeleton horse can trample crops on other people's islands. Just kidding, I'd never do something like that. Because I'm a good person. It turns out it's really easy to glitch through doors, so the people visited my island formed an orderly queue to wait their turn to break into the dome. This community is the worst. Getting tarantula silk was taking weeks, but getting the fly swatters was actually quite easy. Sure, it's an incredibly rare boss drop, but the thing is it's only useful for making flycatchers, an item which literally only 2 people on the server were going for, which is how my alt account ended up in a bidding war with Squid Kid. Why did he sent me a party invite? Now he's in the guild chat, pomme de terre. And I've been kicked. The people breaking into the dome have now started a potato cult. I don't know how to feel about this. It ended up taking 5 weeks of constant grinding, but on Christmas Eve, we finally had 24 flycatchers. This was largely thanks to this man who used his expert business skills to outsource the work to dozens of Skyblock tryhards, ultimately contributing 3,000 stacks of tarantula webs, for which I paid over 100 million coins. We'd finally done it. We'd created the strongest possible potato farm, producing 1,129,000 potatoes per day. Unfortunately, Squid's army wasn't slacking off either, and 2 weeks later he too had the strongest theoretical potato farm. Now the only way for him to catch up would be to farm potatoes by hand, and he had already started. I spent 10 hours constructing a gigantic potato farm covering over 21,000 blocks. For the next part of my plan, I went to Pigicle. Yeah, this is mine now.
You just rob it and sell it.
I'll just be taking this. Oh, this is good. I've been pretty broke recently. If you're wondering why I borrowed one of the strongest weapons in the game, it's because the Reaper Scythe has an ability that's crucial for farming potatoes. Now that I had it, I could finally... My farm is finally complete. And it only takes 85 minutes to replant. I made an AFK machine on my island so planted potatoes would keep growing even when I wasn't online. For a few days in January, there was a bug affecting a lot of farming minions. Potato minions were only making 33% the potatoes they were supposed to. Like any normal person, I immediately asked myself, how can I use this information to destroy my enemies? Hey Squid, notice anything about your minions lately? Yeah? I farmed potatoes for so long that I began to question my sanity. I knew it was bad when one time, after finishing planting potatoes, I took a nap, and when I woke up I had no idea how long I'd been asleep, but when I checked my farm, I instantly knew, these potatoes have been growing for 3.5 hours. Shut up, I don't have a problem. Overall, Squid ended up farming over 1 million potatoes by hand. In that same time, I farmed over 5 million! I had to replant this entire field 19 times! Every every day I monitored Squid's live streams on Twitch to the point where I amassed 9,000 channel points. I made sure to farm potatoes whenever he was live to demoralize him.
Is he really planting potatoes too? We're gonna go check. This dude has a mental illness.
As time went on, you could begin to hear the hope draining from his voice.
I just can't believe how much he's farming. We need Minecraft Mondays to come back.
At this point, I was pretty confident in winning the potato war, but the problem is I had no idea how large my lead was. I can see my own potato count and what rank I am, but Squid has disabled the API setting that allows other people to see exactly how many potatoes he's at. Little does he know I have spent the last 4 months meticulously updating a spreadsheet of our potato counts, which I did by crawling through his farm and timing each of his minions with the stopwatch every day to calculate his exact potato output. Based on the math, I should be about 22 million potatoes ahead, which would take over 200 hours of farming by hand to catch up. At that point, I thought the potato war was truly over. But everything changed with the pet update. The first change is that flycatchers got buffed to plus 20%, instantly increasing my potato farm's yield to 1,231,000 potatoes per day. Of course, the main part of the pet update was the pets themselves. I immediately started looking for a pet that would help me win the war. Unfortunately, none of the pets seemed geared towards potato farming. The best option I could find was the rabbit pet, which gave a small boost to your farming experience. A higher farming level gives you a small chance to get extra potatoes when you farm them by hand, so I figured the rabbit pet would probably help me farm potatoes, maybe 1% faster. It could be epic at worst, but we want legendary, please. It turned out rabbit pets had a secret third ability that only legendary variants had, which increased the speed of farming minions by up to 30%. And Squid had no idea it existed! I had to level up my rabbit as fast as possible, and since pet experience is based on skill experience, I decided to grind alchemy. You see, alchemy is the rich man's skill, alright? If you have the money to burn on expensive ingredients, you can level up insanely quickly. And this was almost 2 months after I'd finished spending all my money on flycatchers. I had money to burn. I spent so many hours brewing potions that I ended up ranked 4 globally in alchemy. You want to know what level my rabbit is today? 96. It's not even max. This experience requirement is ridiculous. And in this time, Squid was fishing to level up his epic squid pet. It wasn't until 4 days after the update that he learned about the legendary rabbit and got one of his own. But it was too late. His pet sucks. It's level like 65 or something. Thanks to the rabbit pet, my minions now produce 1,586,000 potatoes per day. It's difficult to calculate exactly what my potato lead is right now because the rabbit pet only works when you're online, but the pet update has definitely pushed it to at least 25 million. Since the war began, I have farmed 158 million potatoes, which in hot potato books is over 6,000. I ain't losing this spot. One last thing I'd like to mention, while I was stalking Squid on my alt, the entire lobby was just piling on him in the chat. They were just hating on him. You see, after the first Potato War video, Squid got 40,000 subscribers in the YouTube rank, and ever since then he's been getting hate because, oh my god, he just got YouTube rank because of Technoblade, it's all luck, he sucks. I just like to take a moment to defend Squid Kid and say it's not all luck. I mean, luck was obviously a big factor, nobody's denying that, but the thing is, most opportunities are created by luck. It takes skill to grasp those opportunities and turn it into success. The original Potato War video would have been so much less funny if Squid wasn't #1 and it was just some random boring guy. Now I talked to Squid afterwards, he's an adult. He doesn't care at all, but I care, alright? So if you see Squid in a lobby, say something nice to him, compliment his hair or something, because he's been dealing with cringe hate for too long, man. We gotta help him. That being said, if Squid Kid thinks he can take my potato rank, he'd better go farm for 1,000,000 years. It ain't happening, dude. You think I've been insane in this video? Wrong. There's actually so many techniques and strategies that I can't even put in this video because he hasn't discovered them yet. I'm keeping them in reserve. You have no idea. This man's been playing checkers while I've been farming potatoes. He's through.
4 months have gone by and I'm still #2 in the potato war. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Technoblade was supposed to get rank 1 for his video and move on to something else, which isn't what happened. Going all the way back to November, immediately after Technoblade and his co-op made fun of me on my own island, I knew it had to be done. I needed coins, hundreds of millions of coins that I didn't have. Naturally, I started asking everyone I knew for loans of crystal and anything that could help me get my minion slots unlocked. I managed to get together 57 catalysts, and it didn't even last my minions 12 hours, which was pretty sad to say the least. It took a month until I was able to consistently power my minions with Catalyst, causing me to fall even further behind in the war. After Technoblade released his first video, Team Squid was formed to help me get my potato rank back. I thought I was one step ahead of him finding out about flycatchers, but it turned out they're 10 million coins each, which is a lot of money. The overflux capacitor from Tier 4 Wolves was valued at over 100 million coins at the time, so I decided I'd try to be lucky and grind for it. I ended up putting over 40 million coins into trying to get this item, and I didn't even get one. Through grinding Slayer, auction flipping, selling potatoes, getting donations, and selling statues on my island, I managed to get 24 flycatchers to go with my 24 level 11 potato minions. We were both at the potato production limit as far as minions go, so it left me with one choice. I had to farm the potatoes by hand. See, it would have worked too, if he was maybe 1 million potatoes ahead of me. 2 million potatoes ahead of me, it's still doable. 10 million potatoes ahead of me, it's doable, but now it's a bit of a stretch there. And he was even further than that.
Since the war began, I have farmed 158 million potatoes.
I'm only at 129 million potatoes. I'm behind by about 30 million here, so that's kind of rough. Farming that amount would take about 50 days straight of non-stop farming, which just isn't reasonably doable. So to win the potato war, we're pretty much gunning that they're gonna buff manually farming potatoes in the future, cause farming 25,000 an hour at max speed is just really slow. To at least stay relevant in the potato war, I'm gonna need to get 15.5 million XP for my rabbit pet just to get it to level 100. Technoblade kinda left out in his video how expensive it is to level up a rabbit pet to level 100, so I'll tell you here. I'm already 10 million XP in, and I need 15 million more XP, and it's gonna cost me over 340 million coins. No, I'm not giving up yet, but there's no way I'm gonna pass him until we get some sort of update to how farming works. I tried my best, I really tried my best, it just wasn't enough. The #1 potato spot is going to be mine, and I'm gonna get it even if it takes me 1,000 years.
My name is Technoblade, and I am the fastest Skyblock player alive. To the outside world, I'm an ordinary Minecraft YouTuber, but secretly, I've spent the last year fighting to maintain my spot as the #1 potato farmer in Skyblock. Opposing me is Squid Kid, the former rank #1, a man whose obsession with potatoes is rivaled only by my own. In my last video, I talked about how the newly added rabbit pet could, at its highest level, increase the amount of potatoes my minions made by 30%, but I knew Squid would watch my video to find out my tactics, so I left out a few of the finer details. You see, the boost from rabbit pets isn't the same as flycatchers or catalysts. You have to be there on the island for the boost to take effect. Once you log off or go to somewhere else in Skyblock, that boost is gone until you come back. But while I was experimenting with the rabbit pet, I uncovered a few interesting facts about how the boost works. For instance, rabbit pets can boost other people's minions if you're visiting their islands as a guest. But minions can only get boosted by one rabbit at a time, so you can't just get 20 accounts with rabbit pets for infinite potatoes. But the third thing I found was the most interesting, and this is what Squid Kid didn't know. If there's multiple rabbit pets on the same island, which one boosts the minions? You'd think it'd be the strongest one, but it's not. If there's multiple rabbits, the minions will be boosted by the one belonging to whoever's been on the island the longest. So, hypothetically speaking, if someone went to their island with their level 100 rabbit when someone was already there with a level 1 one, they wouldn't get their rabbit's 30% boost, they'd get the level 1 0.3% boost. Unrelated fun fact, did you know that Squid Kid's island is still open to visitors? Yeah, that's right, we're doing this again. So I bought a new Minecraft account, slapped a level 1 legendary rabbit pet onto it, and shipped it off to Squid Kid's AFK pool. I knew I had to maintain absolute secrecy. I didn't even tell my goons about this, because I knew once Squid got wind of this, it would be trivially easy for him to prevent it. I waited until the day I released the second Potato War video to start. After that video, tourists flocked to Squid Kid's island to see it for themselves. My alt blended right in. Every day my alt would sit there in Squid Kid's AFK pool to maintain rabbit priority. In fact, it usually had the rabbit pet deactivated during the day, since you don't need to have the pet out to keep priority. And since the rabbit was deactivated, if Squid checked his minions during the day, he'd find nothing wrong with them. But every night around 2 a.m., Squid would leave his account AFK and go to bed. And that's when I'd strike, overriding his rabbit pet boost for the rest of the night. And yes, I memorized Squid's sleeping schedule to pull this off. I mean, at this point, how is that even a question? Of course I did. But unfortunately, complications soon arose. Squid and I had both been rushing to get our rabbits to level 100. I had a pretty heavy lead, and I figured it'd take Squid several more weeks to get his there. But unfortunately, an unknown third party got there first and sold his level 100 legendary rabbit directly to Squid. Of course, he didn't forget to brag about this victory on stream.
Oh my, oh my. You know who doesn't have a level 100 pet? Yikes, he has a level 99 rabbit pet. He's poor. It's only level 99. I'm screaming. Ah!
Little did he know that while he was flexing on stream, my alt was right there on his island, overriding his level 100 bonus. But my problems didn't stop there. You see, Squid got an alt account to AFK with his rabbit pet on his island while he was doing other things, and since the alt account had no reason to ever leave his island, it became much harder to keep control of pet priority. And sometimes when I had priority, he'd end up kicking everyone from his island because it was too full for his alt account to join, meaning I lost priority for the rest of the day. I was going to counter this by spending $30 to buy his alt MVP++, since that rank can bypass guesting limits, but unfortunately, on March 20th, my alt was kicked and Squid's island was closed forever. The jig was up. But by that point, I'd already achieved my objective. The 2 weeks it took him to realize what was going on cost him about 2 million potatoes. Bit of a tangent, but I'm pretty sure I lost a few fans over the rabbit pet because everyone would just be hanging out. They'd just be chilling on my island with their level 30 rabbits activated. And I'd come see that, and I don't care if it's intentional or not. They're sabotaging my potatoes, so I'd kick them out of my island to get priority back. And then they'd come back 10 seconds later like, "Why did you kick me, Technoblade? I just wanted to meet my favorite YouTuber." And I'd be like, whoa, relax, dude, relax. It's not a big deal. I have a really good reason. I can't tell you because it's a secret. And they'd go like, "It's okay, Technoblade. I know the reason. It's because you hate me specifically. I'll just go leave forever now." And I'm like, "Wait, come back, no!" So Squid closed his island, which meant I couldn't sabotage him anymore. But what if I told you that was also part of my master plan? You ever noticed how my island has been open to visitors during the potato war? In the last video I explained, I made an AFK machine on my island so planted potatoes would keep growing even when I wasn't online. I was actually using an advanced technique there called lying. This clip of the AFK pool is from November. I didn't even build the manual farm until January. You might recall from the first potato war video that minions behave differently depending on whether there's people on the island or not. Because if no one's on the island, hypixel's not going to waste resources keeping that server online, so they're going to close the server. And then when you come back, they're going to go, "Oh, well, it's been 7 hours. It's going to run a calculation and give you 7 hours worth of stuff." But as we've seen before, that calculation isn't perfect. So I ran an experiment, and in the experiment, I found that when someone's on my island, I get 10% more potatoes. And there was only one thing boosting my minions by 10%. The farm crystal. The farm crystal is an external buff, so it's not included in the offline calculation. So if there's at least one person on my island and Squid's island is empty, I'd get 10% more potatoes. Now it was easy to get people to AFK on my island. What was difficult was getting people off of Squid's island. You see, even months after the first potato war video came out, when the initial hype was starting to die down a bit, there would be at least one of my own viewers AFK on Squid's island every night, you know, as a joke. Sometimes I would be on Squid's island on an alt account and I'd see someone say in the chat, "I'm gonna go AFK to help Technoblade win the potato war," and I'd beg them. I'd be like, "No, dude, please, he fixed that months ago. That doesn't hurt him anymore." And they'd be like, "I'm helping," and AFK all night. Squid Kid was getting boosted by my own viewers and there was nothing I could do to stop them, because what was I gonna do? Announce that AFK and helped him? Then even more people would AFK. I realized that the only way to stop this from happening would be to get Squid to close his own island to visitors, without him realizing that that's what I wanted all along. It took 4 long months, but it finally happened. But anyways, back to this tweet. So Squid says he closed his island because someone filled his potion system with rookie axes. A common trolling method in Skyblock is to fill people's inventories with useless items like boats. But the rookie axe is even worse for players like Squid Kid who use the Skyblock add-ons mod, which has a feature which makes it very difficult to drop tools out of your inventory. The point is to stop people from accidentally dropping weapons worth millions of gold, but it also applies to the rookie axe sold in shops for 12 coins. So basically, someone dumping a ton of rookie axes into your hopper system is the worst thing someone can do to you in Skyblock. Now, I've always been interested in psychology. In fact, I almost majored in it, so after 6 months of stalking Squid Kid, I developed a bit of a psychological profile of this man. I know how he talks, I know how he thinks. And when I saw this tweet, I instantly knew that this man was lying. Now, don't get me wrong, I completely believe that somebody dropped rookie axes into his hopper system, because it was me, but that's not the real reason he closed his island. After all, I'd been dropping rookie axes into his hoppers for weeks, but he sent that tweet 8 minutes after he kicked my ult. So I get to thinking, why would Squid lie about that? And I realize Squid knows I monitor his tweets, but what he doesn't know is that that was my alt account. From his perspective, that could have been some random guy with a rabbit, and if that was the case, I'd have no idea rabbits could be used that way. As such, him lying in that tweet could only mean one thing. He's about to sabotage me! So I held a stakeout on my island, and guess what I found a few hours later? A brand new Skyblock account AFKing with a level 1 legendary rabbit. Truthfully, I could have stopped Squid before he even joined my island, but I wanted to catch him in the act because I'm always getting comments saying, oh my god, Technoblade, why are you so mean to Squid? They don't understand. This is war. There's no holding back. I know that, and Squid knows that. The only difference is that I'm 20 steps ahead. He's playing Skyblock while I'm playing Death Note. He thinks he can outsmart me with my own strategies because he is yet to realize that he is but a puppet, and I, the puppeteer, dance! Potato Boy, dance! So anyways, I got on my secret alt account and then sent his secret alt account a party invitation, and then I DM'd him on Discord, yo dude, accept my invite. Well, this is awkward. He actually did accept my invite. We had a lovely conversation, and then I banned him from my island. Get out of here. He tried again with another account a few days later. I don't have any proof that this account is him, but look at that username, Stinky Bozo. That's a pretty unusual word. In fact, I've only heard one person say it.
Bozo. You are a bozo. Bozo. Nice one, Bozo. You're a frickin' bozo.
Yeah, that's right. Get out of here. I did eventually close my island, but not before I made sure I wouldn't lose potatoes. After that, I moved on to the next phase of my master plan. If I wanted to farm more potatoes, I'd have to start farming pumpkins. But wait a minute, Technoblade. That's the wrong vegetable. Wait. What do you mean it's a fruit? Whatever, at this point we'd pretty much maxed out the output of our minions. The only thing left to work on was the speed we could farm potatoes by hand. The farming skill gives more crops as you level up, so I decided to grind it to the highest level. I did the math and found that farming potatoes is so incredibly inefficient at leveling up farming that it was actually more worthwhile to build a whole pumpkin farm. I began the construction of a pumpkin farm large enough that by the time I finished farming it in full, the pumpkins at the beginning would have already regrown. I don't even want to tell you how long it took to build this. And so I began farming day after day. At times I'd farm for so long without break that the people watching thought I was bodding. Word of my pumpkin farming soon reached Squid, who began farming pumpkins himself, but he only saw the surface level of what I was doing. You see, I wasn't just leveling up my farming skill, I was also leveling up multiple legendary rabbits. There's a reason I wanted to stop people from AFKing on Squid's island, even after he started AFKing himself, and it's because it's almost impossible for one man to AFK every hour of the day, because servers restart, the game can update, your internet can go out, and if you're asleep or doing something else, you'll be missing out on those bonuses until you get back. Even the most dedicated individual might only average 20 hours of AFK coverage per day, and those 4 hours alone without the rabbit pet and farming crystal cost you 100,000 potatoes, and over time, that adds up. To fix this flaw, I got multiple level 100 rabbits, some leveled myself and others purchased for tens of millions of coins, and then distributed them to goons in diverse time zones. I set my island so only guild members could visit and had my head goon code a Discord bot that automatically pinged them within 5 seconds of the rabbit account leaving my island, at which point one of them could log into the island themselves and boost my minions until I got back. After a few weeks, we both reached farming level 50. On May 4th, there was a pet update which added, among other things, the elephant pet, which at its highest level could increase crop yield by 25%. Ordinarily, a buff to manual farming would be bad for me, since it allows Squid to catch up that much more quickly. But I had a plan. The reason farming potatoes by hand is so inefficient is because when you break potatoes, they don't grow back. So 2/3 of the time you spend on farming is spent replanting the potatoes you just harvested. Squid Kid and his viewers spent many hours trying to find a workaround to this, even building an elaborate redstone machine in an attempt to somewhat automate replanting. But in the end, they failed to find a better method and continued farming normally.
I should be able to plant 5 at the same time. Why is it so
Dang.
slow? It takes forever.
What if I told you I found a way? You see, back in January, I had an idea. What if I had the minions plant for me? At the time, this wasn't practical for 2 reasons. One, I didn't have enough farming bonuses for it to be worth sacrificing the minions' normal output, but this was solved when I got farming level 50. Secondly, potato minions were simply too slow. But since then they've buffed flycatchers, added the rabbit pet, and added foul flesh, a new fuel source which buffs minion speed by 90%. Even then, the potato minions weren't quite fast enough to keep up. But I thought to myself, if they're only going to be planting, they don't need to waste an upgrade slot on a super compactor. So I spent another 250 million coins to get 48 total flycatchers. Squid and I both started farming potatoes, but his method could get at most 200,000 potatoes per hour, whereas my method with double flycatchers, even after subtracting the amount the minions would have made themselves, could get 410,000 potatoes per hour. For the next 3 weeks, Squid farmed hours every day, but I was farming at the same time.
What are the odds he's farming right now? 5 bits? I bet Techno's doing the same thing, just has a 130% faster way to do it. You're probably wrong.
In this time, I expanded my lead by another 5 million potatoes, but at this point, Squid and I had been farming potatoes for almost a year, and we were still farming hours every day, with no end in sight. Neither of us wanted this to continue, so we came to an agreement. Whoever got to 500 million potatoes first would win the potato war. Hypixel even pitched in, saying he'd give a surprise to the winner. Now, I was only at 300 million potatoes at this point, but I figured I had this in the bag. I mean, I'd been tracking Squid's potato count. I accounted for his AFK coverage by having the Discord bot track his alt account's logins, and I knew how much he was farming by hand because I was monitoring his farming experience. With a 45 million potato lead and a farming method twice as fast as his own, what could possibly go wrong? June 6th. Things go very wrong. It was just a small update with a few quality of life changes, you know, like an enchantment which replants crops after you farm them, and an item which automatically compacts items in your inventory so you don't have to spend time on that. You know, 2 minor changes which just so happened to buff Squid's farming method from 200,000 potatoes to 1.2 million. And my farming method becomes worthless. Suddenly, my 45 million potato lead goes from insurmountable to, yeah, Squid can farm that in a couple days. Squid starts putting in crazy hours.
If I do 12 hours a day, can he keep up? Absolutely not. People say Technoblade never dies, but I'm putting him in the grave.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here in shambles. I was out here with my lab coat on, doing the science, coming up with new never before seen potato farming techniques, and this man just goes, admins please, replanting is too hard, and they buff his farming method 6-fold. Was that it? 8 months of plotting and scheming just to fail in the final stretch? No, I couldn't accept that. I was going to win this war, whatever the cost. I immediately drank 3 months of mystical mushroom soup and got to work expanding my old potato farm, a project which would take 25 hours over the next couple days. I knew I was playing the game as intended when I realized that the only reason I ever put on one of the strongest armor sets in the game was to use its 3% speed bonus to optimize till and dirt. For the next 2 weeks, I did nothing except eat, sleep, and farm potatoes. There were only 3 interruptions, each of which cost me millions of potatoes. The first was a dentist appointment, and the second was when I had to play in Minecraft Championships.
What do I message him? Was it worth your time losing MCC? It took me 2 hours to lose MCC, but it'll cost you 9 months to lose potato or. Hey, relax! Relax, hello?
Besides that, there was only one other time. I had to go to the store the other day. I had to interrupt my potato farming because my dad was like, hey, can you go to the store and pick up my medicine? And I was like, can I really tell him that I'm not getting his medicine because I need to farm potatoes? Can I really? Look, I'm an atheist, but when God sends me to hell, I want him to hesitate, okay? I want him to hesitate for a few seconds. But Squid was also farming several hours a day, and he had even found a way to maximize his AFK coverage. He started sleeping with his headphones on, and had his goons wake him up via Discord call whenever his alt left his island. As someone with a Discord bot tracking his online activity, I can tell you right now that that man is telling the truth. He was waking up multiple times per night. I don't know why he didn't just use backups like me. He actually revealed to me later on that one of my original goons betrayed me and gave him one of our internal documents. And the list of backup pet users is literally right there at the top of the first page. I have no idea how he missed it. But anyways, Squid logged off an hour and a half ago. He should be entering REM sleep just about now. It would be a real shame if someone woke him. I didn't actually wake him up because I wasn't sure if intentional sleep deprivation was legally considered torture or not, so I decided to shelve that strategy for the time being. And after sacrificing 2 weeks of my life, I finally reached 500 million potatoes. We win these! Squid was shocked.
He's at 499. No, he's not. Dude, that's actually, like, it's not possible. No. It's not. This can't be real.
Squid had been certain that he was right on my tail.
I don't know how far behind I am. 100% less than 30 million.
And yet when I won the war, I had a lead of over 88 million potatoes. How did I do it? It's just as Sun Tzu says, all war is deception. You see, I knew after the second potato war video that things were going to get more difficult from here on out. Because at this point, Squid had a full organization backing him. He had goons, a cabal of billionaires funding his every move, hundreds of stream viewers making constant suggestions on how to farm potatoes more quickly, and reporting on my every move. So in that video, I prepared my final trick. I hid my true potato count. The number shown in my video wasn't edited, but it didn't include the millions of potatoes left uncollected in my minions. I also say that my minions now produce 1.58 million potatoes, but they're actually producing 1.75 million, because the rabbit pet doesn't actually boost your minions by 30%. It boosts them by 43%. Why? I don't know, it's probably bugged. And Squid couldn't realize the real number when he got a level 100 rabbit of his own, because he was being sabotaged. But the biggest reason my lead expanded by that much was because over those 2 weeks, while Squid averaged 8 hours of farming per day, I averaged 11.
I just can't believe how much he's farming.
The admins were legit saying that Techno is just like so focused, it baffled them at how like just insane he was. He had no breaks.
I swear to God, this Technoblade dude is focused on another level.
Towards the very end, Squid had one of his goons write a program to chart how much I was farming by tracking how much experience my elephant pet had. But by then, it was too late. Once I won the war, there was nothing left to do except celebrate my victory with grace and humility.
Oh my gosh! He's doing a little emote on me! Oh my, not like this, come on! Was this necessary?
Watch me dance, Squid Kid, you lose! You lose the war! After the war, the admins added a temporary NPC to the Skyblock hub, the Potato King. It gave out a new talisman which boosted potato minions by 5%, a basket for the top 1,000 potato farmers, and to me, the potato crown, engraved upon it the words, "All men can see the tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved." Sun Tzu, The Art of War. That NPC is gone now. I took too long to edit this video. I gained a lot from the potato war. Patience, discipline, carpal tunnel. I guess my main regret is that I bribed Squid's Discord admin to give my alt permission to see into his secret text channels, and then he never used them all year. With the war over, Squid took down his potato minions, and my fields have gone unfarmed. While we were enemies, I still respect Squid Kid. I understand now that it is only with a worthy rival that one can reach their fullest potential. While he may have lost the war, he's gone from 70 subscribers to having tens of thousands of fans, so it can't be said that he's lost completely. For my part, I've realized now that rank number 1 isn't an achievement. It's a prison, which forces you to dedicate your life to defending a temporary title. But now, with the war finally over, I'm free.
After farming potatoes from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, you start to realize something. Reality and fantasy can be hard to tell apart.
Time to wake up, Squid. Rabbit Pet's not on your island again.
Got it, thanks. To see how the potato war ended with me getting woken up every day from a Discord call, we're gonna have to go back a few months. No, I'm not giving up yet, but there's no way I'm gonna pass him until we get some sort of update to how farming works. I was kinda stuck, and there wasn't much for me to do other than prepare for the future and pray for an update. I designed and built an alchemy machine to level up my pet. I ended up trading about 100 million coins worth of potatoes at the time and getting a level 100 pet that way. I had to choose something to invest my time into that couldn't easily be replaced by a lot of coins, so naturally I turned to Slayer. 300 million coins, and over 100 hours later, I finally maxed out all of my Slayers. Newsflash, the big Slayer update never came, and I wasted a bunch of time. See, I went to Technoblade's island one day, and I saw he had a massive pumpkin farm, and I didn't know why, and it made me really nervous, so I decided to build one too. It took over 30 hours to make, and over 100,000 dirt. It was obvious he was going for farming 50 to have triple crops, and I ended up beating him there, which was pretty nice. Out of nowhere, an update came, and they added some pets worth taking a look at. You know what else is worth taking a look at? My Badlion cloak. Link top of the description, use code SQUID for 10% off. It looks really cool, and go buy it. Double crops? Enchanted Dark Oakwood. Okay, we need this right now. They added an elephant pet, which gives you a 25% to get double drops while farming, and they added a pig pet which you could ride and it farms for you. I needed to find a clear winner between the two, so I set up some tests. Replanting is the longest part of farming, so it was immediately taken into consideration. With each pet breaking 16 crops exactly, the elephant pet produced 393 potatoes, while the pig pet produced only 52. With more than 7 times the yield, the elephant pet was obviously better. I had to level my elephant pet up to level 100, which is something that I anticipated months ahead of time. By not collecting my minions, I was in a way storing XP inside of them for when I needed to withdraw it. So at a certain point in time, I decided it would be good to stop collecting my minions in case a new pet came out that I needed to level up quickly. Another thing that helped me is I actually invested 30 million coins into enchanted carrots in case I needed them for the future. The investment paid off because the carrots were used to craft pet candy that leveled up your pet for you very quickly. Topping it off with a bit of pumpkin farming, I was able to max out my elephant pet very, very quickly. Fellas, the first level 100 elephant pet on the server? Yes sir! Yes sir! Between getting my elephant pet to level 100 and getting to farming 50 first, it really made me feel like it had a chance at winning the war. I went on to create a semi-AFKable farming machine, which makes farming potatoes require a lot less attention. One day I went to check on my minions and I noticed their timing was slower than it should have been, so I immediately knew something was up. I started kicking everyone off my island until I found out what the problem was. I kicked everyone off my island until there was only one account that I couldn't locate. Bizarre ZZ. Checking his API confirmed he was there to slow down my minions. I didn't end up finding out where he was, but that didn't stop me from adding him to my ignore list and kicking him off my island. I tweeted out a lie about why I closed my island, to make Techno think that I didn't know what he was doing. I'm not gonna lie, this made me feel like I was a frickin' genius. I thought I was the smartest person alive. Of course, I went to go put my ult on Techno's island to do the same thing he was doing to me. The mission was short-lived. June 6th comes around. They made farming way easier, so I decided to make a giant farm because I already knew we were going to be farming day and night until somebody wins the war. I got a bunch of different graphs made to help me figure out how much he was actually farming, and I'll tell you what, it was a ton. It was just a normal day of farming potatoes when the worst happened. Okay, hold on. He's live on YT. Let's see.
So we need to get to 500 million, and we are at we are pretty close. We're pretty close, all right.
It seems he's just a better player or something. I don't want to believe it. As much as I didn't want to believe it, it was very much real. I lost the Great Potato War. You see, nobody plans to lose. I had this big thing written out about how I didn't read The Art of War and instead I farmed potatoes, and I have all these screenshots of people telling me I'm gonna lose. I had screenshots of people who believed in me, but at the end of the day, I lost. For a whole week, I couldn't even go to the hub without getting reminded that I lost. Although I took probably the biggest L of my life, it's not a complete loss. I got to meet a lot of new people, make a lot of new friends. The admins gave me a silver medal out of pity. And I got to make a bunch of new memories along the way. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting me along the way. If you want to subscribe right now, I have a bunch of new and unique content planned and scheduled for the future. And if you want to check out my Twitch, I stream on there 5 days a week, so come and say